I bust my ass, Lou. That's what I do every day. So you be careful who you mouth off to, jerk off.
Good morning. Yeah, bad news here. Bad news here. Yep. Turned the Xbox on about 20 minutes ago. The 360 to stream. I was going to stream Penn State versus Michigan. Both those rosters are updated. So I was going to stream Penn State versus Michigan. Turned the Xbox on, the 360. It had an update. Click yes to do the update or whatever. Click yes. It goes through the update. It says we need to reset your console. The 360 turns off, turns back on, and then it gives me some weird error message here. And now it won't turn on. It won't do anything. Yeah, I'm gonna give y'all's mods back. Anyway, I'm on the line right now with Xbox customer support online. I'm sure this will go great. Thank you for contacting Microsoft support. I'm Mike M. How can I help you today? So I'm typing in the error message that I have. It says, can't read the update from your storage device. Please reinsert it to continue the update. But I don't have no external storage device on the 360. So I don't know what's going on here. If this thing, I mean, this thing's like 10 years old. It may have just died. If that's the case, I'll just go get another one tomorrow. I don't know. But so I can't stream the college football game today. So we can do we can just talk football or do a Q&A. Let's see. I'll start adding some of these mods back here. See how it goes. 50-50 chance on that, ain't it? Let's see. Y'all might have to remind me who the mods were. I don't even remember who was mods. I don't even remember now. Yeah, the Miami video was awesome today, Dennis. I knew you'd get a kick out of that, sir. I knew you would. Who was mod? Eagle was a mod. Who else was a mod? Mark Dudley was a mod. Okay, gotcha. Thanks for sharing the details of the concern. Is this an Xbox 360? Yes. All right, let's see what they say here. Jared was a mod. Where did he go now? There he is. Slim Mosley. Who am I missing here? David, yep. Yeah, I guess it's, I mean, the 360, well, the red ring, okay, so the ring is green right now, okay? When this first happened, the Xbox cut off to do the update. It rebooted, and then I got this error screen. It says can't read the update, blah blah blah, status code, yada yada yada. So I reset the Xbox. When I hit the power button, it turned red. So yes, it gave me that red screen, that red ring of death. But then when it powered back on, it was green again, and it's green again now, but it's still giving me this error message. So, I mean, it's probably dead. Like I said, it's like 10 years old. I know it's not under warranty. I don't know why I'm wasting my time with these people on Xbox support, other than the fact that maybe it'll give me a reason to get mad and pissed off and yell at them about something. So anyway, any news? Any college football news? I didn't have a chance really to look around much today. With what was going on. Okay, hold on, let's see what they say here. Thanks for confirming that. Let me go ahead and help you out with that. What we're going to do from here is perform some troubleshooting steps that will determine and fully isolate on what might be causing the issue, and I will walk you throughout the procedure. I'll be needing your full cooperation and patience. I don't know about the patience part, but I'll give it a shot. But they may end up incurring the wrath of Uncle Lou here. Is that the only Xbox? Well, it's the only Xbox 360 I have. I've never been in the habit of stockpiling multiples of the same console. I mean, I have the 360, the Xbox One, and the PS4. But the Xbox One and the PS4 don't do me any good when it comes to playing the college football game, sir. Chargers tight end Hunter Henry tore his ACL. I hate preseason. I mean, I hate any injury, but can you imagine being a pro athlete, or even a college athlete at a big time school or whatever, and working and preparing and all that your whole life to get to where you're at, or all off season to get to the season, and then have something like that happen in the off season and just ruins you for the year? That's got to be the worst. Yeah, Kirby's still casting down D'Angelo Gibbs. I mean, everybody got all in an all excited when they announced it looked like he was going to be enrolling in school over the summer. I mean, I don't want to say I've given up on him, but I'm counting on not having him. I would, and I've been doing that since January. I would rather count on not having him and be pleasantly surprised than to be in a situation where I'm hoping we get him and then get let down. I just don't have a good feeling with what's been going on with him. I hope I'm wrong. I've been lucky with the Xbox 360s. I've only ever had two. And even the first one I had didn't red ring. I forget what happened to it. I think it might have been user error, like I might have broke it with a hammer or something. But, a lot of people had those issues with 360, that red ring of death. I got lucky. I've never had it. And like I said, this one is 10 years old. Well, 9 years old. Well, no, it might not be that old. This one might be about 7 years old, because I guess I got this one when Lou Jr. was 2 or 3 years old. And he's 9 now. So, but still, I've been lucky. There's another Miami fan in here now, or is Dennis Wilson figured out how to make a fake account? Miami fan. Good morning, sir. The man of tanks. Why do you hate Auburn? I don't like the way you disrespect us. I disrespect every team that deserves it, sir. When Georgia sucks or does something stupid, I disrespect them too. So it's not really anything special about Auburn. That's just kind of what I do. Try to install the update again. To do that, go to Guide, Settings. I can't. If I could go to guide settings, systems, if I could do all that, I would be playing the college football game right now, buddy. How'd I get the name Uncle Lou? I literally just made it up. There's not even like a cool story or anything to go along with it. Many moons ago, I worked at an AT&T store, and we used to prank people up there by printing out. I'm going to give the short version of this story, but we used to prank people at AT&T by printing out funny pictures and taping it to their computer monitor while they were out to lunch or whatever. And then when they came back, they would see this funny picture on their monitor. Ha ha ha. It was all inside joke type stuff. So if I try to tell you the pictures that were printed, it wouldn't be funny to you. It's one of those you had to be there type of things. And they printed out a picture one time to put on my computer monitor of this like angry looking old man or something, and the man's name, for whatever reason, I don't know where they found this picture, Google Images or what, but the caption of the picture was Uncle Lou. This was years and years ago. So when I got ready to make a YouTube channel, I didn't know anything at all about YouTube. My nephews at the time talked me into starting a YouTube channel. And I remember one of the first things they told me was just, I said, well, what should I name it? And they said, just don't use your real name. I said, why? They said, nobody uses their real name on YouTube. They just make up a YouTube name. And I don't know why that name just popped in my head, Uncle Lou. So I wish it was like a cooler story than that. But it's not. They said, okay, we can remove the hard drive from the console and insert it again, and then check the update will push. Okay, all right. How do I do that? I know they're not going to have me out here with tools and shit at 10:15 at night. I know that's not going to happen. Urban Meyer never lost the national title. Good to Nick Saban. You got words out of place in that sentence, words missing in that sentence. You got Saban spelled wrong, which is no surprise because your screen name is Urban Meyer, and Meyer is spelled wrong. So, what's your favorite vacation spot? You know, I'm not sure if I have a favorite. I go to St. Augustine every year. We have a place down there. And I like St. Augustine. There's not a whole lot to do there, which is fine with me because I'm an old man. I'm happy just sitting by the pool all day. But now, you know, with kids, it's not a whole lot to do there. Hilton Head is nice. It did, Dogs fan. It did give me a red ring when I reset it, so that's when I contacted Xbox support. Here's the link so that you can see the pictures on how to remove the hard drive. Great. I don't know which console I have. Oh, this one. That's the one I have. Okay. Oh, God. I guess I can try it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. We're about to find out, though. Maybe. What in the hell does that say to do now? Position the console horizontally. Do I know what horizontal means? Yeah, I do. Okay. And then it says it's over here now. On the right side of the console, locate the hard drive cover release near the back of the console. Slide the release diagonally down. Oh, okay, I see it. Okay. Alright. Insert the hard drive. I don't see it. What am I not seeing here? I'm about to get irritated now. How is this possible? I'm so aggravated now. I'd honestly rather just go buy another one than even screw around with this. And that's probably what I'm going to end up doing also in 2. In addition to that as well. What else is going on? Isn't LSU Dad a YouTube? I swear I've seen him before. You talking about TJ LSU Dad? Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel. He's been on here before too. On the 3 o'clock show. He was a guest on the 3 o'clock show one time. What new game you want me to buy? Yeah, I have a PS4. I have a PS4, an Xbox One, and an Xbox 360. But you can only play the college football game on the Xbox 360. You can't play it on the Xbox One or the PS4. Who's a better coach in big games, Mark Richt or Helen Keller? Alan says, I know who your guest is tomorrow. It's Pigskin Pete tomorrow. Clemson fan. Yeah, I like TJ. He's a good guy. Ed Orgeron is better than Mark Richt. I don't know about that. There's a Jason Bourne game for real? Like the Bourne Identity? The Man of Tanks. Ooh, I love you. You're great. But Stidham is good and better than Fromm, but not better than Hot Rod. What teams are the most realistic dark horses in the SEC West and East? Is LSU a dark horse? They fallen. I guess LSU is a dark horse, right? I mean, you can't really pick Auburn as a dark horse, even though Alabama's in the West and is always favored. You can't really pick Auburn as a dark horse because they won the West last year, so they're a legitimate threat, and I wouldn't consider that to be a dark horse. In the East, I think anybody other than Georgia is a dark horse. Will you ever live stream playing games on PS4? Probably not, because that's in Lou Jr.'s room. He plays that most of the time. Now he live streams on the PS4. I usually just do the 360 or the Xbox One out here in the UNCLELOU studios. No, you can't be UJ can't be a dark horse to win the East when they're the favorite. That just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know you're trying to troll, but that's just a lazy attempt to troll. Undisputed a-hole. That's a great name. Here's a question, Lou. How can you blame Mark Richt for Miami losing the last 3 games last year? I didn't see him behind center. Last time I checked, Mark Richt wasn't throwing INTs. Well, then Saban doesn't get any credit for any wins or national titles. Who's a terrible coach? Jim McElwain doesn't get any blame for Florida winning 4 games last year. You know, I mean, if that's how you feel, that the coach has no impact on wins and losses, then why are they making, I would ask you why they're making millions of dollars a year if they have no impact on wins and losses. In other words, that was just a dumb statement that you made. Crunk Man, what's up, buddy? I heard they were coming out with a new college football game maybe next year. Have you heard this? Yeah, they are coming out with a new game, but basically what the new game is, there are no, if you buy that, when you buy that game, there will be no teams, there will be no players, nothing. I mean, there will be teams, but they're all make-believe. They're all made up. But the game is fully customizable. So if you want to take the time to create 130 Division I teams, you can do that. But you'll have to do it. When you buy the game, it won't have any college football teams on it. It won't have any college football players on it. But it's fully customizable. So you could make them. Now, I'm assuming there'll be groups of people. There's a group of people that still update NCAA 14. They do it every year. I'm assuming some group, maybe the same group, if not a different group of people, will go through and update and make and create and do all those teams and playbooks and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm assuming there'll be a way to roster share. But if you just buy the game, there are no college teams on it when you buy it. None. I don't know why this lazy 007 guy is talking about Fromm transferring whenever both of Alabama's quarterbacks have both talked about transferring, both of them, in the last 6 weeks. So I really don't know. This guy is like 0 for infinity on his trolling today. Undisputed a-hole. You can call the correct play and still have it incomplete. Okay. Yep, you're right, undisputed a-hole. The coaches make absolutely no difference in who wins or loses a game. It's ridiculous that they make millions of dollars. You don't even need coaches. I don't even know why we have them. So you're right. I'll get it, but I'll tell you right now, I'm not sitting down and creating a bunch of teams on there. I mean, I'll wait. And if some group does it, like what updates these Xbox 360 rosters every year or whatever, and they roster share it, I'll download the roster share. But there's no way I'm buying that game with the intention of sitting here for 6 months and creating every single college football team myself. It's not happening. Way too busy. Don't have time. Thank you, Alan. Yeah, we're going to have some fun with that one. I'm still working out the details on that Miami character. That's why there was really nothing to the video today other than introducing him. Like he didn't say anything. Or I'm still working his stick out or whatever, But we'll have some fun with that one. That'll be a good one. The man of tanks. Is Hot Rod better than Daniel Carson, the SEC all-time leading scorer? I think not. Hot Rod for Heisman. I love Hot Rod. I'd take him as my field goal kicker every year. Yeah, I'm still planning on doing the 24-hour stream. I don't have a date or anything like that set. Summer break's coming up here soon for the kids. That might be a time when it's easier for me to do it. Maybe sometime in June. Yeah, Matt. I mean, the thing is, like, I get comments like that all the time. And I'm not against making a super fan for any particular school for any particular reason, but the thing is, I have to have an idea of, you know, what to do with it and where to take it, or it just won't be right. I mean, I can't just buy an Ohio State jersey, put it on, make an Ohio State video, and call myself an Ohio State super fan. Like, I have to have an angle to take to do it, or I don't feel right doing it. So it's not that I don't consider the suggestions that I get from people about which teams to do a super fan for, but if I'm not able to come up with some sort of storyline, or you know, like General Valtard is, you know, a meth head, runs around, gets mad, he's old. Natty Back Steve, you know, has his little, yeah, go Gators. He listens to Nickelback, and he works at a roadside fireworks stand. I mean, I have to come, you know, in order for me to feel like I'm doing it the right way, I have to be able to come up with these things ahead of time before I just go with a character like that. 90 Proofer Luther, you know, drinks all the time, wears the Bear Bryant hat. All he knows about football is Nick Saban, Bear Bryant, and 17 titles, you know, the Woe Tide. I have to have those ideas like ahead of time before I feel comfortable doing a fan, you know. My favorite one to do is probably 90 Proofer Luther. That's probably the funnest one to do. General Valtard, I would say, is probably the most popular overall. Like, that's probably the one that I get the most requests. Like, hey, do another General. When are you gonna do another General Valtard video? So he's probably the most popular. The Georgia Tech one is my least favorite one to do, and it's the least popular because there's just not that many Georgia Tech fans, and it's not in the SEC, and it's the most amount of work with that outfit, the shirt and the suspenders and the bow tie and all that. It's a pain in the ass to even have to do that. I think I've only done him 2 or 3 times. Valtard was the first one too. Valtard happened on accident. It might have been around Halloween, or maybe I was cleaning up or out here or something, and I found that old Halloween mask. And I think at the time I put the mask on, and, you know, and acted like a Tennessee fan. I'd have to go back and look. I forget. I think I know what it was. I did a season in review. Tennessee Vols fan reviews the first half of the 2016 season. And so I was gonna be a Tennessee fan and like reenact how a Tennessee fan lived the season, right? And so if you go back and watch that first video, and I'm wearing the mask, I didn't have the jersey at the time. I think it was just the mask and maybe the straw. And so, you know, I go back and I'm like, I put a date on the screen like preseason, and, you know, the General Valtard's jumping around, and he was like, 15-0, we're going 15-0. This is what I tell you now. We're going 15-0. Now listen what the General tell you now. We're going 15-0 now. And then week 1 or whenever they lost, and then anyway, I went through and did the whole thing. And people loved it. And I guess Natty Back Steve, I guess, was the second one, the Florida fan. Yeah, go Gators. Yeah. I gotta get back to my fireworks stand, Lou. Yeah. Dan, we got Dan Mullen. He's a Florida man, Lou. that was the second one, I think. And then the Georgia Tech one was the third one. And then 90 Proof for Luther, and now Uncle U. And I still have another one coming before the season starts. And I've told y'all before, I already know what it is. It's either South Carolina or Georgia. I tried to keep this Mark Richt one, the Miami Superfan thing, a secret, but I've been planning this for a while to do during ACC week. Somebody actually sent me that. A Tennessee fan who just enjoys my videos and had been watching me for a while saw that I was doing a Tennessee character, and he got in touch with me, and he was like, "I've got a ton of Tennessee jerseys." He was like, I'd love to send you one if you would actually wear it when you do your Tennessee character." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll wear it." And so he actually sent me that Tennessee jersey. John, I have a playlist. I'm not sure how familiar you are with YouTube, but if you click on my channel, and you can do it on mobile too, you don't have to be on a computer. But if you click on my channel, I have a bunch of playlists, and there's a General Vaultard playlist. So every video that I've ever made that has General Vaultard in it is in that playlist. So if you guys ever want to watch any of them, there's a General Vaultard playlist. Natty Back. Luther's got his own. I'm not sure if the Georgia Tech guy's got a playlist or not, because there's only 2 or 3 videos, but he might. Elon, I don't know what happened on Thursday. At first, I thought one or more of the mods were screwing around. And then the longer it went on, the more I started to think either I was getting hacked or it was just some sort of YouTube bug. And I think it ended up just being some kind of bug with YouTube. My favorite UGA game ever? Well, I really, people ask me this all the time, and it's hard for me to say. So when I answer this question, I usually do it in a couple of different ways. I'll talk about my favorite game I've ever been to. That was Tennessee in 2000 or 2001. I think it was 2000. We tore the goalpost down, and I was there. It's the only time the goalpost ever been torn down at Sanford Stadium. That was a once in a lifetime. And I was young then. I was 21, 22, something like that then. So not, if I was at a game now and the goalpost got tore down, I'd just have to stay in bleachers. But I was one of the first ones on the field. I was hanging from the goalposts in one of the end zones. I mean, it was awesome. So that's the best game I've ever been to. Unfortunately, some of the best UGA games I've ever seen have been losses. Alabama in 2012, the national title game this last year. The Rose Bowl was a win, though. That's up there. The LSU game from 4 or 5 years ago was really, really good. It was a back-and-forth game, high-scoring game. Georgia ended up winning 42-38 or something. It was really high-scoring. It was Aaron Murray versus Zach Mettenberger back in the good old days when LSU used to have an offense. The Florida game where Noshawn Moreno dove into the end zone and the whole team came out in the end zone. That was a good. I mean, so there's been a lot of good games. Like, it's hard to pick the best though. Do I think Vegas will win the Cup in year 1? I don't know. Are the Washington Capitals still in it? They're really good. That might be my pick. Trevor Lawrence is a hippie. I don't think so. If anything, he's more of a pretty boy, I think. I'm not too sure hippie would be the right word for him. Oh, all right, Brody, I got you. I didn't intentionally not remake you a mod. I just couldn't remember everyone to do right away. So I got you. Uncle Lou, you do nothing about original Orange Bowl. Tell this fool at Miami fan, go Canes. Dennis, that sentence makes absolutely no sense. I could read it 100 times and it wouldn't make any sense. Uncle Lou, you do nothing about you know, but N-O, not K-N-O-W. You know nothing about original Orange Bowl. Tell this fool at Miami fan, go Canes. I probably know more about the original Orange Bowl than you do, Mr. Wilson. You had the longest home winning streak in college football history there. That was your heyday. Snellenberger. What's his name? Jimmy Johnson. Michael Irvin, Warren Sapp. I mean, that was your heyday, sir. Chances are, and I would be willing to bet, that I know more about the Miami Hurricanes than you do, sir. Super Cali fan. Cali is going to make the World Series. The only game we lost was against Green Bay out of everyone. Cali, who's going to make the Super Bowl? What, the Rams? I like the Rams now. I mean, I'm not really a fan of teams. I'm a fan of players. Obviously, I like Todd Gurley, and the Rams have a really good defense, too. Did they get rid of Alex Ogletree, though? A bad move if they did. Seems like I remember hearing that. Yeah, a-hole. The Miami Hurricanes fans aren't very, just in general, Miami Hurricane fans aren't very knowledgeable about college football. They only pay attention when Miami's winning more than 9 games a year. I mean, they didn't sell out a game for, 10 years straight, other than the Florida State game, and that was just because Florida State fans were driving down and buying up all the tickets. But, I mean, up in, the 10 years before Mark Richt got there, you watched a Miami game on TV, it was half empty every single time. Fan support's just piss poor for Miami. Talking potato, it's not that I don't see your comments, it's just I'm tired of answering the same comments from you over and over and over again about eating potatoes. So it's not that I don't see them. Carolina Jackpot says he hopes Trevor Lawrence fly. Why? I'm not surprised you hope that, sir. I mean, I guess I kind of hope that too, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm a big believer in Trevor Lawrence. I think he's the real deal. Yeah, they sell out games now that they're back to making bowl games. But when they didn't make a bowl game for 10 years straight, their home games had 20,000 people at them. It was pathetic. They are not almost at the Bama fan level. Jeez, no. What? No. Miami Hurricane fan base is nowhere near the Alabama fan base. Unless you're trying to compare it back to when Alabama was crappy, and then, yeah, I see what you're saying. There was no, you couldn't find an Alabama fan from 1993 to 2008. They didn't exist, so I guess that's what you're saying, and yes, I would agree with you there. Ryan Chambers says, will Georgia be back in the national title, and do you think Bama will be good next season? Bama will be good every year until Saban's gone. Will Georgia be back in the national title? Way too early to say. I mean, Georgia's not Alabama or Clemson where they've been to the playoff 2, 3, 4 years in a row. That's, Georgia's expectations aren't to make the national title game every year. Not that fans don't want that, and not that the players and coaches don't think they can get there, but making the college football playoff one time doesn't elevate a program to the expectation level of national title or bust. My goals for UGA are the same next year as they were last year. Win the SEC East and roll the dice in Atlanta for a chance to make the playoff. That's my goal. Anything less than winning the East would be a disappointment for me this year. Outstanding Cruz. What do you think of Crumpton's abilities in his playing time at wideout? He looked really fast in the spring game. Yeah, the problem is he's the same player as Mecole Hardman, and there's really only room for one 5'9" receiver on a team at a time. And Miko is just better than Crumpton. Not that Crumpton's not any good, but you know, how many 5'9" receivers can you put on the field at the same time? Not two. But I mean, he's good. You know, it may be him and Miko splitting time returning kicks, and he may get in the game some too. But that slot role is going to primarily go to Miko, majority of the snaps. Max Killer, who do you think will win the NBA Finals? Golden State. It won't be close. Who's better, Deebo Samuel or A.J. Brown? Who is A.J. Brown? But probably Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is one of the best wide receivers in college football. If he's able to come back. He broke his leg. I'm assuming, that assuming he comes back to the same shape and form and all that he was in pre-injury, Deebo Samuel is one of the best top 10 wide receivers in college football. What will it take for Tennessee to get good again? They need to change the mentality around there. Unfortunately, it's hard to say right now because you don't know what you're getting with Jeremy Pruitt. I mean, you have to be honest with yourself. I know Tennessee fans are excited about Jeremy Pruitt, and is it possible that Jeremy Pruitt ends up being a really, really good coach? Yes, it's possible. There's also just as much of a possibility that he ends up being a really, really bad coach. You just don't know. You just have no way of knowing. He's never been a head coach before. Same risk Georgia took. Paid off for Georgia. We'll see if it pays off for Tennessee. Master Dream says, if Florida doesn't win the East this year, Dan Mullen's entire staff should be fired. Well, that's the precedent you set at Florida. McElwain won the East 2 years in a row. His third year, he didn't win the East, so you fired him. So I agree. If Mullen doesn't win the East, you should fire him. I agree with you. Dennis, I'm going to have to just quit reading your comments because I can't understand any of them. So I'm not sure if you're 9 or if you type this way because you're on a phone or something or what, I don't know. But all these heart emojis and all this kind of stuff, I mean, it's like you're an 11-year-old girl. I have to stop. I just can't read those anymore. John has a bold prediction. Scott Frost will take over the Alabama job in 8 years after Saban's retirement. You think Saban's going to be around for 8 more years? I don't think it'll be that long. And I don't know. Scott Frost is at his alma mater now, so I don't know. I don't know what motivation he would have to leave there. I don't think he would leave Nebraska willingly. I think the only way Scott Frost leaves Nebraska is if he gets fired. And if he gets fired from Nebraska, that probably means he didn't do a very good job there. So then I wonder if Alabama would even want him. But I think it's going to be hard for a team to take Scott Frost away from Nebraska. It's hard to get a coach away from his alma mater when it's a big time school like that, a Power 5 program like that. Yeah, but you see Scott Frost change his tune now that he's at Nebraska. If y'all saw the quotes he made last week, he's basically said, I'm proud of what happened at Central Florida, blah, 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 but they need to back off all that national title talk. Now that he's at a Power 5 program, he agrees with everybody else. It's funny how that works. Martin Fox says, if you haven't seen Deadpool 2, something's wrong with you. What if you haven't seen Deadpool 1? Something's still wrong with me? LSU Superfan says, Butch Jones, the next head coach at Bama. He is head coach in waiting at Bama. No doubt about it. I agree with you. He'd be a perfect fit there. Ryan Chambers, do you think Dabo Swinney would take Alabama head coach job when Nick Saban retires? I used to think that Dabo would leave Clemson for Bama. Now that Dabo has won a national title at Clemson, I think it'll be harder for him to leave. But we'll see. There'll be a lot of pressure on him to take that job. There'll also be a lot of pressure on him to stay at Clemson, especially if they keep winning at the rate they're winning now. If Carolina's 10-2, what bowl game will they go to? If that's the second best record in the SEC, they'll go to a New Year's Six bowl. Which would be what, the Peach Bowl maybe? or the Rose Bowl, or the Fiesta Bowl. The playoff games this year are the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. It's either the Orange and the Cotton or the Orange and Fiesta are the playoff bowls this year. I think it's the Orange and the Cotton. Super Cali fan says he lives next to Jake Paul. Well, if that were true, I would feel sorry for you. Do I have an opinion on Texas Alabama home and home series coming in 20? Look, listen. I love those. I love those games, especially when they involve two big time teams that aren't Georgia. I'm done. I'm done apologizing for scheduling and rooting for, or saying, "Oh, I wish we would play this team or that team." No, I just soon play 3 middle school teams, Georgia Tech, and our SEC schedule. There is absolutely no benefit. The way the system is set up right now, if you're in the SEC, there's no benefit to playing a big-time out-of-conference opponent. There's just not. There's not one. If you win the SEC, you're making the college football playoff. You don't need a big win over someone else in addition to that. If you win the SEC, you're getting in. No, Lou Jr. doesn't watch Jake Paul. Don't let him. I did get your email, Slim. I didn't even get a chance to open it and look at it, though, but I did see the subject or whatever, so thank you for that, sir. I appreciate that. And if I'm an idiot on that kind of stuff, Slim, I'm just telling you now, I'm an old man. I'm not the brightest bulb when it comes to that kind of stuff, so I'll let you know. When I try that, I'll let you know if I run into any problems. Oh, that's true, Josh. Donnan did not do that bad at UGA. He had a 10-win season, but like you mentioned, losing to Florida. Well, mainly losing to Georgia Tech is what got him fired. But I mean, it didn't help that he was losing to Florida too. But he wasn't terrible, especially compared to Goff. I mean, he improved it from where we were at under Goff. Florida's playing South Florida. Okay. Tennessee versus UTEP. Listen, if Tennessee loses one of those games, either UTEP or Eastern Tennessee State, if they lose either one of those 2 games, I'm telling you, Tennessee fans might as well just not even come on my channel because it's just going to be nonstop. I mean, I won't be able to control myself. Jets fan, have you ever been to a Georgia away game? At South Carolina a long time ago. And Jacksonville, to me, that's a road game. So I mean, I've been to the Florida game. Technically, that's not an away game, but I've been there, and I've been to South Carolina. Tyrone Phillips, Lou, I have beef with you. Well, that's why I'm here, sir. Let's hear it. What? Have you ever broke any bones? Yes. Yeah. I was in a real bad car accident in 2013. Broke a bunch of bones in my leg, bunch of bones in my knees. Broke my ankle. Broke 2 bones in my neck. Other than that, though, the only thing I've ever broke is fingers, and that was all sports related, football and baseball. Tyrone Phillips, you keep making fun of everyone, Lou. I'm about to squish your small head. I'll be waiting. Taylor Ryder, Florida fan here. Who do you think Florida will start at QB? I think it'll be Franks, but I hope not. I hope it will be Frank's. Um, and I'm clueless. Every time I talk to a Florida fan on the call-in show, I always ask them that because to me that's one of the biggest unknowns in the SEC this year is the Florida starting quarterback situation. I don't think Franks is an SEC level quarterback. Now, Dan Mullen supposedly, a quarterback genius or whatever, but McElwain was supposed to be too. So is it possible that Dan Mullen can get in there and elevate Felipe Franks to the point where he's able to be a serviceable SEC quarterback? I guess that's possible. I still think the best case scenario for Florida is that either Kyle Trash or Emory Jones gets up to speed. And I'm just not a believer in Franks at all. Jamie West. Hey, I'm Georgia. The wife is Tennessee. She wants to talk, Lou. She wants to talk Tennessee. Well, put her on. Who's better, Mississippi State or South Carolina? That would be a good game, wouldn't it? I think those are two good teams there. I would say I think last year South Carolina was better. I mean, we beat Mississippi State by 30 points. We beat South Carolina by 14, both in Athens. So I would have to say right now South Carolina's a little bit better, but I don't think Mississippi State's a terrible team. Tyrone Phillips. Uncle Lou looks like a GD pomegranate. Will Moody. Biggest unknown in the SEC was Auburn's high school offense. Beep, boop, read option, beep, boop. Notre Dame fan, last playoff spot will come down to 11-1 Notre Dame and 11-1 Mississippi State. Well, then Notre Dame is screwed. Sorry. Notre Dame most likely has to go undefeated to get into the playoff because they can't win a conference or play in a conference championship game. So I highly unlikely Notre Dame gets in anytime soon, in my opinion. And I'm high on Notre Dame this year. I think it's possible they could go 11-1, maybe 10-2, but that's not going to get them in. Last year was Notre Dame's chance to get in. You had two conferences that eliminated themselves, the Big Ten and the Pac-12. That only left three conferences, but Notre Dame crapped the bed. They couldn't win out when they needed to. That was your chance. You're not going to have very many years where two of the Power 5 conferences are eliminated, and that's what it's going to take for Notre Dame to get in. Big Red Mike, do you think UJ will eventually drop Tech off the schedule? No, I don't. I've seen a lot of talk about that lately. I do not think it'll happen, and nor do I think it should happen. Miami fan says, come down to Miami, Lou. Oh, you are too poor. Yeah, that's it. If I just had a little bit more money, I would move to Miami. That I've just been waiting. I've just been waiting and waiting. Who's the biggest recruit? Yes, I'm poor, Miami man. Dirt poor. Jamie West. Hey, this is wife Heather West. We love you, but my blood bleeds orange. I can respect that, and I have a couple of people that I know that are in that same situation, Mrs. West. I have a couple of people that I'm friends with on Facebook, and the wife is a big Tennessee fan, and the husband is a big Georgia fan. I know a lot of people who are split Georgia and Auburn, with those campuses being so close to each other. So it's not a unique situation. I'm kind of lucky. Mrs. Lou could care less about college football. She honestly doesn't know the difference between, well, it doesn't matter, but she just doesn't care about football, which is good because she went to Florida State for her undergrad and South Carolina for her master's degree. Two teams that aren't very high on Uncle Lou's list here. So luckily she doesn't care at all about football. We may have some problems there. Man with no name. loves how the mods are arguing. Miami Man says, "Are you fat?" Yes, I am overweight, but I'm working on it, sir. Prediction Network, Uncle Lou, where do you think Zach Pickens will go? I don't even know who Zach Pickens is. Terry Silver says, "Get a job, Lou." No, you get a job, Terry. You get a job. Miami Man says, Augusta is poor. Yeah, right. What's my opinion on Tua? I think he has a lot of potential, but playing one half of football, no matter how good or how bad someone does in one half of football, if that's all if that's all I have to go on, that's not enough. That's not enough. People that have got Tua winning the Heisman and throwing for 3,000 yards and running for 1,500, and could that happen? Yes. He could also come out this year and throw 15 interceptions. One half of football just doesn't prove anything to me. Even though it happened on the big stage, I get all that. But I just need to see a guy do it for 2 or 3 weeks in a row at least before I'm ready to say he's the greatest quarterback ever. Yes, Slim, I've been to the varsity a bunch of times. What would it look like if General Valtard had a baby with Natty Back Steve? I don't even want to... Why would you even want to think about that? If you could add one team into the SEC, who would it be and who would you kick out? I don't think I would kick anybody out of the SEC. I mean, geographically, Missouri doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So if you're going to get rid of them, then you got to add a team from the west, to the east. I would, if we could take somebody from the ACC, I would like to have one of the North Carolina teams or Virginia Tech. If we had to add somebody that's not currently in a Power 5, I don't know I don't know who we would add that's currently in the SEC footprint. I don't know who. East Carolina. Another Florida school, maybe, but Florida would never go for that. I mean, Florida would never vote that in. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Yes, I've been to Dreamland Barbecue. Jamie West, I want to call into the show. This is Jamie West, wife FYI. The Spanish video was great. I laughed so hard with you. Yeah, call in sometime. The show's about to expand, too. So right now it's real hard to get through because I only do it 2 days a week for an hour. I do it Mondays and Wednesdays, 3 o'clock Eastern to about 4 o'clock Eastern. Sometimes it goes a little over. And I can only take so many calls in an hour. I get a lot of complaints, that from people that, I try to get through. I can't ever get through. I'm going to expand the show, maybe even starting. It might start next week, but it's starting by June for sure. I'm going to expand Monday and Wednesday 2 hours. And sometime before the season starts, probably in August, I'm going to add Friday. So right now, it's Mondays and Wednesdays for 1 hour. By the time the season starts, it'll be 3 days a week, 2 hours. So that'll give a lot more people an opportunity to get through on the call-in show, which will be good because right now, not very many people watch that call-in show. I definitely don't do that call-in show for the views because that's the least watched video that I do. But I like doing that show. I like interacting with my subscribers, with the viewers, with other college football fans. That's why I do this live. No one will watch this either. I can yell into my camera for 4 minutes about Cheerios and upload it, and it'll get 10 times the number of views this video gets or the call-in show gets. But I like doing these shows. I like talking football with you guys, and interacting with y'all in the comment section and on the call-in show and stuff like that. That's why I do it. Top 5 SEC teams with the best wide receivers: Alabama, Ole Miss, Missouri, uh, I don't know. I love Deebo Samuel. He could be the best receiver in the SEC, but as a group, I'm not sure if Carolina has much. I I think Georgia has the potential in 2018 to be one of the best 5 receiving groups in the SEC. We only lose Javon Wims. Everyone else comes back. Riley Ridley, Terry Godwin. He's got the best hands in the SEC. McCole Hardman had a breakout year last year. So I think it's realistic to think that Georgia could be a top 5 receiver group in 2018, even though they haven't been a top 5 receiver group in the last few years. I think it's possible they could get there in 2018. Tennessee should be in top 5, and Tennessee can't be top 5 in anything. I mean, you know, I'm sorry, you just can't. You're not top 5 in anything. You're top 5 in punter. Tennessee is punter you. Y'all brag about your punters all the time. I'll give you that. Your punter you. Big Dog, Bam, what's your take on Otis? I think Otis Reese can play right away. I don't know if he'll start, but you know, Kirby doesn't mind rotating people in and out on defense. You don't see it a whole lot at defensive back. Of course, you have nickel and dime packages and things like that, so DBs get added and then taken out. But Otis Reese, you know, he's like a linebacker safety hybrid type player, and I think he's the real deal. It would not surprise me at all to see him make an impact this year. I wish he could have been an early enrollee. I wish everybody could early enroll and get a head start, but it doesn't work that way. But it wouldn't surprise me to see Otis Reese get some playing time this year for sure. Ryan Mill, hey Lou, if the playoffs from last year was an 8-team playoff, what other teams would you put in? If I was going to do last year, well, the 4 that got in, and then I guess Ohio State, Wisconsin, geez, do you put a Pac-12 team in? I'd put Central Florida. If you go to 8, I would put Central Florida in. So that's 7. The 8th one is hard because do you put a Pac-12 team in? Do you put a second Big 12 team in? That 8th spot is hard. Who would y'all put in that 8th spot if you were going to do 8 teams from last year? Of course, the 4 that were already in. Ohio State. I would put Wisconsin. That's 6. I would put Central Florida. That's 7. I think Central Florida would lose in the first round, but they're undefeated. If you're going to go to 8 teams, I say, okay, put them in then. But who would that 8th team be? That's tough. Panthers guide. Losing Smith, Wynn, Michelle, Chubb, Carter is definitely going to affect UJ's season, not replacing them. They made up blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this guy's an FSU fan. They put half their defense in the NFL every single year. But all of a sudden, Georgia puts a couple of players in the NFL, and now we're not going to be any good next year. I don't know if you've ever heard of recruiting or not, sir. Our last 3 recruiting classes were ranked 6th, 3rd, and 1. And all of those players are currently enrolled at the University of Georgia. Every single one of them. None of them have gone pro yet, sir. They can't. So I don't know where this notion is coming from. Listen, I got bad news for you people that are excited because Georgia lost 31 seniors, and you're like, oh, that's it. That Georgia had their chance, and they blew it. They're going to suck next year because they're losing 31 seniors. Listen, I got bad news for you. The Georgia team that you saw in 2017 is the worst Georgia team you're going to see for at least the next 4 years. That's just the reality of the situation. That's not my opinion. I'm just going off of talent, okay? Oh, those were Mark Richt players, Lou. Hey, great. Guess what? Mark Richt was winning 8 games with those people, 9 games with those people, 10 games with those people. Kirby comes in, goes 13-2, and takes them to a national title game with quote-unquote Mark Richt's players, whose average recruiting class rank was about 11 or 12. Now Kirby is there with his own players whose average recruiting class rank is about 5. So, what I don't understand what you guys are not seeing here. And if you're trying to piss me off, it's not going to work. I'm not even mad about it. It's hilarious to me. Hilarious. Oh, your defense not going to be as good as last year, Lou. Doesn't need to be. We beat every team we played last year by 30 or 40 points. So this year we beat them by 25. Okay. Yeah, Quay Walker's good. I'm not sure how much playing time he'll get this year, though, but with some special teams maybe. I mean, I could be wrong. I like Quay Walker, but I mean, we're loaded. It's hard for anybody to come in. You have to be elite, or come in at the right time in terms of a position of need in order to have a chance to play as a freshman on defense, University of Georgia right now. Andy Summers, you think Georgia has a chance to win the Natty in 2018? There's about 10 teams, in my opinion, that have a chance to win it, and Georgia's one of those teams. So I don't want to see anybody crying in the comment section telling me Georgia's not going to win it. Georgia's got as good a chance as about 9 or 10 teams to win it. That's not my opinion. I mean, you can check the Vegas odds. I think Georgia's like 3rd in terms of Vegas odds to win the Natty. So, yes, Georgia has a chance to win the Natty in 2018. That doesn't mean they'll win it. But you can't tell me they don't have a chance. That's just ridiculous. You're either trolling or you're completely football ignorant if you don't think University of Georgia is going to have a good football team next year. Those are the only 2 options: ignorant or trolling. There's no middle ground. No, Alan, you're right. DeAndre Baker's a lockdown corner. He's one of the best cover corners in the SEC and could be the best this year. Yeah, Prince, I agree. I mean, and I'm not an Alabama or Clemson fan. Listen, y'all hear me talk about Clemson all the time and how Georgia is getting there. They're not there, and I think Alabama and Clemson are the 2 best programs in America right now. Then I think there's a few teams under that, and I think Georgia is one of those teams that's under that. Okay. What are my thoughts on the Braves thus far? My thoughts are wake me up in October. I cannot follow anything that's 165 games long. Nothing. I don't have the attention span to do that. I'm an immediate gratification type of person. When I play the lottery, I buy scratch tickets. I ain't got time to pick numbers and then wait on somebody to draw ping pong balls. I ain't got time to be sitting around, with a 165 game season. I can't follow it. What's going to happen to Jalen? I think Jalen stays. And it wouldn't surprise me to see Jalen Hurts start the first game of the season, but I do not think he'll be the starter for long this year, if he starts at all. Alan, I agree with you 100% on Baker. No one's throwing the ball his way. I agree with you 100% because I've seen it on Saturdays. I love everything I've seen from LeCount at practices, but I've never seen him do anything in a game on Saturday, so I'm not as convinced about LeCount. I mean, I know he's a headhunter, a hard hitter, safety. I'm not sure what type of cover skills he's going to have, but I mean, not that I'm doubting him, but I have to see people do it. Yeah, Tech had about 600 people at their spring game. Then that's normal for them. No one cares about. Listen, even Georgia Tech fans don't care about their football. The only thing you'll see Georgia Tech football fans about 3 months out of the year, and that's only if they beat Georgia. Then you'll see them in December, January, and February, and then they're gone again. And then you see them 6 years later when they get lucky and beat Georgia again. That's it. Big Dog says Georgia has to get the playoffs again this year to get the Alabama Clemson level. Yeah, I mean, Michigan State made the playoffs one time. Washington made the playoffs one time. Oklahoma's made it a couple of times. Ohio State's made it a couple of times. Clemson and Bama have made it multiple times. So, do I think, Michigan State fell off the map and won 3 games after they made the playoffs. Is that going to happen to Georgia? No. But there is no guarantee when it comes to making the playoffs. And that's like I said earlier, my goals are the same this year as they were last year. I don't think just because Georgia went to the national title game last year that all of a sudden we should have that same expectations that Alabama or Clemson have. I don't feel that way. I think Georgia's the most talented team in the East. I think Georgia should win the East. And then you go to Atlanta in the SEC championship game and you roll the dice. Winner gets a trip to the playoffs. And I'm okay with that. I like our chances there. All right, Jamie West, thanks for coming on the stream. And, yeah, call into the show sometime. Would you call a game with Scott Howard? I wouldn't be fit for radio, sir. Saturdays during football season are the busiest. Well, football season in general is a busy time for me, but Saturdays in particular, my days are. I wish there was a way I could fit 40 hours into college football Saturdays. My thoughts on Auburn and Washington is it's going to be a pretty good game. I'm an SEC homer, of course, so I'm going to be pulling for Auburn, even though I hate them. Washington has struggled recently, when they've had to play SEC teams. So we'll see. I mean, Washington's got a ton of talent coming back. That quarterback, Jake Browning, whatever his name is, one of the best quarterbacks in America. He's third year starting now, or fourth? Is it Myles Gaskin, the running back? Is that who it is? Elite running back. My concern with Washington would be lines of scrimmage. Auburn has an elite defensive front. I mean, this is no SEC homer shit here. Auburn has an NFL front, and that's my concern. If I'm Washington, that's what I'm worried about. Is Jake Browning making it out of that game alive would be my concern. I would not be shocked either right now. If I went to sleep right now and woke up on the first Saturday of football season and you told me Washington won, I wouldn't be shocked. You told me Auburn won, I wouldn't be shocked. Right now, I think that it's hard to pick that game. I'll make a pick on it though when I do my predictions. I'll make a pick on it. And then of course the week of the game, I predict all the big games every week of the year on video. So I'll make an official prediction. I'm not trying to dodge the question. It's just that's a tough game to pick right now. Who was a better tackler, Bobby Boucher or Joe Montana? Bobby Boucher. Do I think West Virginia has a chance to win the Big 12? Yes, I do. Somebody mentioned dark horses earlier to win the SEC or whatever. West Virginia would be my dark horse to win the Big 12. A lot of people are going to pick Oklahoma. You're going to have some people that are on the Texas bandwagon. I'm one of them. But it's never out of the realm of possibility that the team with the best quarterback in a conference wins it. I mean, that's never out. That's always, you have the best quarterback in a conference, you have a shot. And Will Grier is the best quarterback in the Big 12 this year. Does Lou hate DirecTV? No, they got the SEC network like they were supposed to, so I left them alone. But if it wouldn't have been for me, everybody that has DirecTV needs to thank Uncle Lou that they have the SEC network. If it was not for my tireless trolling of DirecTV, they would not be, of ever started carrying the SEC network. I wore their asses out for weeks and weeks and weeks that summer leading up to the launch of the SEC network. In what year was that? 2014. If it wouldn't been for me, they wouldn't have had it. They got so tired of hearing from me is the only reason they added it. Yeah, I need to do some more movie reviews this summer, Michael Vick. That's a good idea. I did a series of them last year. I did Forrest Gump and Rudy, and I don't know, I might have did one or two others. And every once in a while, somebody will bring that up. And in fact, I'm gonna write that down. I keep this notebook here when I'm out here working every day, and I will get these weird ideas in my head. Like this whole page right here. I don't know if you could see it. It's video ideas, and if you look, most of them I've done. Fromm versus Fields. Oh, here's one I didn't end up doing yet. 90 Proof for Luther. Blaming the refs for the pick play against Clemson. That was a video I was going to do because Alabama fans won't shut up about Georgia blaming the referees for losing the national title game, which is funny because Alabama spent the entire previous year blaming the referees for losing to Clemson right on that pick play in the end zone. So I had a video idea. I was going to have Luther complain about that pick play. And then I was going to point out the hypocrisy. And I still might do that. But, like, a lot of the videos you've seen me do over the last couple of months, I mean, sometimes I might write something down, and it might be 6 months later I do it. But, like, let's see what's on here. 5 favorite coaches. Remember that sort of troll video I did where I said my 5 favorite coaches were Malzahn, Paul Johnson, Orgeron, Muschamp. I've got them all wrote down there. A video on Jalen Hurts' dad. I ended up doing that video. Pruitt hates Tennessee fans. I have that written down. That was one I did right away, though. You know, some of these videos you have to do, like, right away. The newsworthy ones, like something breaks or some sort of news, you got to do those right away. But, like, others, I can just write them down. And, like, what I do is if I come out here one day and there's no breaking news, I look through this list, you know, weird ideas that I've had for videos. And that's a lot of the videos that you see were videos I wrote down in here a month ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever. Anyway, I said all that to say this. I'm writing down that what you just said there. Hold on, I'm looking for something. All right. Yeah, radio would be a good one too. There's a guy on Facebook that I argue with a lot. He's actually a Georgia fan, but we don't get along. He's one of these Georgia fans that wants to meet me on the bridge before the game and fight me all the time and stuff like this. But I call him radio. Every time he comments somewhere on Facebook and I see it, there's a GIF. Hold on. There's a GIF of that Cuba Gooding Jr. from the movie Radio, and he's got headphones on, and he's like, and he's making this weird face. And every time that guy comments something on Facebook, I post that up. I post that Radio GIF. West Virginia favored by 9 against the Vols. I would give the 9. I don't think that game will be close, and I don't necessarily think that game. Tennessee could get blown out in that game. I don't think that game would necessarily be an indication of that they're going to be horrible. That they could, but I don't think you're going to be able to tell from that game one way or the other. Big 12 teams just play a totally different style of football than the SEC. So, it's possible to give up a ton of points to a team like West Virginia and lose and still do okay against the SEC in the regular season. Now, that doesn't mean they will, but I don't think Tennessee wins that game, and I don't think it'll be close. Georgia, Texas A&M baseball game tomorrow. Well, I'm going to go with Georgia. And in softball, we play Tennessee this weekend, too. It'll be a good series. Who will win the World Cup? Well, not the USA because they didn't even qualify to lose. That's pathetic and sad. So, I'm going to go I'll go with Germany. Who do I think could beat Georgia in the regular season? I can just the 3 games I think will be the toughest are going to be at South Carolina, at LSU, and home against Auburn. If you're going to make me pick a 4th game, I would say Florida, but that's a stretch. Will you see a 4th Cleveland versus Golden State finals? I think so. I thought Boston had a pretty good chance to beat Cleveland, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. LeBron's taking that series over, it looks like. So I guess Golden State will be beating Cleveland for the title again. All right, national title odds. So, agree or disagree with this list here. I know it's hard to see, but I have faith in you guys that you can pretty much figure it out and see this list. I'm not going to explain to you. If you don't know what these numbers mean, I'm not going to explain it to you, but you should, especially now that they're going to start legalizing this stuff. Alabama, plus 180, plus 225, depending where you look. Georgia, plus 600, plus 800. Clemson, basically the lower the number, the better the odds. So Alabama's got the best odds. Clemson's got pretty good odds, sitting there at plus 550. Georgia at plus 800. Ohio State's at plus 750, so a little bit better than Georgia. And then everyone else is 1,000 or more. Like you look at Auburn, they're 2,500 to 1. Basically what that means is if you bet $100, you win that amount. So if you bet $100 right now that Alabama's going to win the national title and they win it, you would win $225. If you bet on Boise State $100 to win it all, you'd win $20,000. So if you got $100 you don't need, that's a big payoff there. Yeah, Martin, Supreme Court finally ruled that law Congress passed years ago was unconstitutional. So basically what that means, though, now, it's not just automatically legal wherever you're at. It just means it's up to the individual states now. So any state that wants to legalize it can. Whereas before, Congress had passed a law saying that only Nevada could have sports betting. Now, any state can have it that wants it, but the states have to approve it. So some of these Republican conservative states just aren't going to approve. They're just not going to do it, period. But a lot of your liberal states will approve it right away. I don't know what South Carolina is. They're not on this list, but they wouldn't be 1,000,000 to 1. My guess is that they're probably somewhere in the 6,000-7,000 range. If you look at Mississippi State, they're plus 10,000. Stanford is plus 4,500. They're probably a little bit worse than that, I would think. So I would guess South Carolina's probably in the plus 5,000 to 6,000 range. Yeah, $100 on Memphis would win you 50,000, Katusa. You know what we ought to do? Well, somebody would have to be trusted. Well, somebody would have to be trusted to do it, but we should get like 20 of us to all donate, like, I don't know, $20 each or something. If we got 20 people to donate $20, that would be 400. We could then pick 4 of these teams that are long shots. We could put $100 on each of those 4 teams, and if one of them happens to win, we would all get paid. But I don't know who I would even be willing to put $20 on that's a long shot here. What is Miami? Miami's 3,000 to 1. What is Wisconsin? Wisconsin's 2,500. I would put some money on Wisconsin. Not that they wouldn't be my first pick or whatever to win it all, but at plus 2,500, I think that's a good risk reward there. I mean, Wisconsin's going to have a really good team. Yeah, I trust Carolina Jackpot on that lottery. Now, I've never sent him any money for that lottery stuff, but a ton of people do all the time. So he obviously, when you do what he does on YouTube with those lottery tickets, all it takes is one time of screwing somebody over and your channel's dead. So, and he's been doing that for a long time. So I'm convinced he's doing it the right way. He's honorable about it. All right, Glover. See you next time. $100 on Miami. Yeah, that'd win you $3,000. I think anything like 2,500 and up is would be a huge payoff, and you can get some decent teams in the I mean, it's not like you're in the plus 2,500 range to the plus 35, even the plus 4,000 range. I mean, look at Stanford at plus 4,500. I mean, they've got Bryce Love. David Shaw is one of the best coaches in America, in my opinion. I mean, they're not terrible. I mean, would it be the weirdest thing you've ever seen if Stanford were to win a national title? I mean, no. I mean, obviously, not very many people are going to pick them to do it, but plus 4,500 on Stanford is not bad either. TCU, they lose too many people this year, and I'm a TCU fan because they're the only Big 12 team that plays defense, but they lose a ton of people this year. Carlton Banks says, Lou, you condo. I'm not sure what that means. If it means do I have a condo, I don't know what you mean there. Tulane 2018 national champ. Tulane was actually the 1998 national champs. They were undefeated. Tennessee claims it, but Tulane was undefeated. And Tennessee fan has spent 6 months trying to tell Alabama fans that Central Florida is the real champion. So therefore, Tulane is the real champion in 1998. Carlton Banks autocorrect. Ooh, my bad. So what? I still don't know what you meant to say or ask. Then type it again. I'll answer it. David said SEC win the next night. Well, yeah, obviously, if you were to do odds on which conference would win the national title, the SEC would probably be somewhere in the like 150 to 1 range. Like you'd bet 100 and win one. Like the odds on the SEC would be even better than the odds on Alabama winning it. Like the odds that the SEC wins it would probably be like plus 150. It wouldn't be worth betting on. The payout wouldn't be big enough. Carlton Banks says I meant to say Lou bet on Wakanda, but I bet on Wakanda. Michael Vick says, "Are you a Christian, Lou?" Well, this is a football channel, and religion doesn't have anything to do with football, so that doesn't really matter. Taylor, I can't do club soccer. I watch international, but I can't do the teams, the club deal. Atlanta United. A lot of people are into that Atlanta United. I can't get into it. Or the European League with Manchester United and all that. I can't get into all that. Nebraska will be the same with Scott Frost. I don't think so. I mean, Scott Frost took a UCF team that went 0-12 and turned them around in 2 years to 13-0. So to say that he's not going to improve Nebraska, I think is a little silly. Now it's going to take him a while. He's not going to be dominating the Big Ten in 2 years like he was dominating at UCF in 2 years. That's not going to happen. He's going to find out real quick why UCF didn't make the college football playoff last year. When you have to play, it's one thing to have to play one good team and get 30 days rest. It's another thing to have to play Ohio State and then Wisconsin and then Northwestern and then Iowa and then Michigan State. I mean, that's brutal. He's going to figure that out. Johnny, how do I feel about Johnny Manziel in the CFL? I don't care about it one way. I never liked him. I never will. So I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's not like I hope he fails or anything like that. It just doesn't affect me one way or the other. I'm not gonna lie, John. I rewatched that a couple of times myself. We won't be seeing him on here anymore. He's permanently or on the call-in show either. He's permanently banned to the pit of misery. I got tired of giving him warnings about the same thing over and over again, so that's it for him. We won't have to deal with him anymore. Robert Lawson says, "What's up with Fromm having to go to the ER for a twitch?" Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is not that he went to the ER, because I get the whole, well, maybe, tetanus shot thing. I get that, but why post it on Instagram like an 11-year-old girl? That's what I didn't get. He shouldn't have done that. Well, not even really that he shouldn't have done it. He can do whatever he wants, but he had to know it was going to make my life harder for a couple of days on the internet, and I don't appreciate that. Oh, Mark, if you missed the live show yesterday, you should at least listen to the last 10 minutes. There's a chance I will be going to that South Carolina game, too. All right, Blackhawks, thanks for coming on tonight. Sorry I couldn't stream the game. I'll try to work more on that tomorrow. Yeah, a lot of people talking about South Carolina's entrance with the Sandstorm song, and makes it even more pathetic that Georgia's still playing that stupid Bob O'Reilly song that no one cares about. This is a trash talk channel, college football experts. So if me trash talking, if you take that as being a jerk, then unsubscribing is probably the best thing you could do. This channel definitely isn't for you. Yeah, South Carolina. I mean, if I was going to make my preseason predictions right now, I'd probably put South Carolina at second in the East. Somebody said they were a dark horse in the East. Um, I'll do my official prediction videos the last half of July and the first half of August. But if I had to pick right now, they'd probably be second in the East. No, Mark. He was complaining that Auburn has to play Alabama every year and how it's not fair. You know, the Tennessee routine. It's not fair. They have to play Alabama, and I had to go ahead and remind them that they weren't crying about having to play Alabama every year from '93 to 2008 when Alabama was terrible. You know, this stuff goes inside. Georgia was playing Florida and Tennessee every year in the late '90s and early 2000s when Florida and Tennessee were dominating the SEC, and you didn't hear Georgia crying about it. That was the gist of the conversation, but you have to go back and listen to it. Taylor says, you think Dabo Swinney's tendency to lose 3 to 4 win teams like Pitt and Syracuse will bite him in the ass one of these years and Clemson missed the playoffs? It could. Let's say there's a year where Miami or Florida State or Virginia Tech or one of these other teams is really good and Clemson loses to them in the regular season and then also craps the bed against one of those Pitt or Syracuse type teams and they miss the ACC championship game, then yeah, it could hurt them. As long as they're if you're 11-1, if you're Clemson and you're 11-1 and you win the ACC title game, then that one loss doesn't matter no matter who it's to. Losing those types of games that's going to end up mattering if and when Clemson ever has 2 losses. Uh, I watch it, Squid Tard, but I can't watch it now because I'm doing a live video right now on YouTube. That got Mark Richt a couple of times. How many years was Mark at Georgia? Was Mark Richt, 13-1, 12-2, 11-2, 10-3, and one boneheaded? How many times did Mark Richt lose to a 500 South Carolina team? 3, 4 times. How many times did we go down to Jacksonville and lose to an inferior Florida team, and it cost us big time? Lots of times. So that's not something. That's not something that is just Dabo. That happens a lot of times. Do I think Bama will beat UJ in the national championship game again, or will Bama beat UJ in the SEC championship game again? I'm confident that Bama can somehow manage to find a way to actually win the West this year. I have faith in Alabama that they can actually win their division this year. Carolina Jackpot Dabo has only been winning big for 3 years. Well, 3 years. 3 years make. I get what you're saying, but making the college football playoff 3 years in a row is kind of a big deal. Carolina fans brag about going 11-1 3 years in a row, or 11-2, whatever it was, and making the Outback Bowl 3 years in a row. So Hard to brag about making the Outback Bowl 3 years in a row and then knock Clemson for making the playoffs 3 years in a row. Auburn could lose to Washington. That's a possibility for sure. Washington was a good team last year. Unexplainable loss to Arizona or Arizona State. But they were a pretty good team, and they get a lot of talent back this year. Yeah, Georgia has historically has owned Clemson. I mean, even this century, what are we, 3-1 against them? I mean, so we've had their number throughout the years for sure. Oh, I think Sony Michel will have a great NFL career. He's going to be the best running back New England's had in a long time. I mean, Sony Michel is the real deal, and he can do it all: catch, pass, run. He can play the slot. He can return kicks. And New England is great at figuring out the perfect role for players. Um, I mean, New England has a history of taking players who aren't even that talented compared to other players in the league. I mean, obviously everybody in the NFL is talented, but New England has a history of taking, lesser rated players and turning them into superstars. I mean, Wes Welker. Even Danny Amendola is not an elite receiver, but you put him on New England and the guy looks like an all-pro. Yeah, that's true. Peyton Manning never beat Florida when he was at Tennessee. That's true. Miami ain't winning no national title no time soon. Come on now. Bulldog says, "My dream is to become a mod on any YouTube channel." Well, your dream should be a mod. Your dream should be to become a mod on the Uncle Lou channel, not just any channel. All right, that one. Thanks for coming on the stream tonight, man. We'll see you next time. Peyton Manning a rapist? I don't know about that. He did slap his balls on the back of that lady's head, though. Manning, the next coach at Tennessee after Pruitt resigns week 10. if if Pruitt does go anywhere, it's going to have to be because he quits. Tennessee's not firing him for at least 5 years. They can't afford to be. I mean, they've been paying 2 coaches for 10 years straight. They can't afford it anymore. They're just going to have to ride it out with Pruitt. The thing is, Tennessee's a stepping stone job. So Tennessee used to be a destination job. Now it's a stepping stone job. All right, Thanos. I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming on, man. Sorry there was no college football tonight. I'll try to get that fixed before Thursday. But Tennessee used to be a destination job. Now it's just a stepping stone job. So even if for some reason, by some miracle, Pruitt comes in and leads Tennessee to some miraculous 8-9 win season for a couple of years in a row, very possible he bounces to a better team. Well, Chris, I appreciate that about the national championship game video and drinking the Coke. Says, will we get another one this year? I do post game videos for every single Georgia game of the year. Obviously, the national championship game was a huge deal, and then there are several games throughout the year that you know, where I'll say during the week, if we lose, I'll do this or that or whatever. Back when Georgia wasn't very good, I broke a few things. Luckily, last year we won most of the time. I didn't really have an excuse to act like an idiot after most of the games last year. But but I'm sure there will be another meltdown at some point in the future. College football expert says, when I call tomorrow, I'm going to absolutely shut you down, so don't hang up, sir. Very educated about college football. You seem like it, seriously. So I'm really looking forward to that. Buster Cherry, love to see Pruitt turn U-Thug around and then bolt for Alabama when Saban retires. That could be a possibility, too. All right, David, thanks for coming on tonight. Oh, you got finals tomorrow? Well, good luck, man. I'm sure you'll do. I'm sure you'll do well. Those of you that are in school, I'm not sure how many of you that are, but those of you that are in school, y'all probably getting out for summer break here pretty soon. I know my kids. This is their last week of school this week, and then they'll be out for summer break. Oh, y'all don't forget we're giving away a shirt or a hat or whatever too. Over the next couple of weeks. I think we started that on Thursday. So if you didn't win last time and you want to win this time, or you did win and you want to win again, don't forget. We'll run it for a couple of weeks like we normally do, and then we'll pick a name to give the T-shirt or the hat away. Least favorite UGA game of all time? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Who thinks college football expert is the ultimate troll? Will Tennessee still have that trash can next season? I doubt it, but wouldn't it be great if they did? But no, there's no way. I still have it, though. If y'all were around during the season last year, y'all know I went and got one of those trash cans and painted a giant orange Tennessee T on it, and I still have it. I'll probably break it out at some point during the season this year whenever Tennessee takes an L. Yeah, you do hours of research, and well, good. I can't tell you how excited I am for your call tomorrow. 5 minutes ago, you were unsubscribing. Remember, college football expert. 5 minutes ago, you were unsubscribing because I was too mean. Now you can't wait to call. Thank you, CRC. I appreciate that. And I'm glad you enjoy the videos. I put a lot of effort into them. I know it might not look like it sometimes. I'm not the best at what I do, but I do put a lot of time, effort, and energy into those videos, and believe it or not, I don't get told that very often. I don't get complimented very often. Part of that is my fault because I'm a trash talker, so I'm not complaining, but it does mean a lot to hear that. So thank you. I appreciate that $2 donation, and you will be entered in the t-shirt giveaway now too. I'm not sure if you know how that works, but every dollar you donate, you get an entry into the drawing for a free hat or t-shirt, and that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. So thank you, sir. If the college football expert is still here, and something tells me that he is, I would be curious to know his thoughts on the fact that Auburn has to play at Alabama every year and Georgia doesn't. I wonder if he could type that out. Oh, I agree, Chris. I love it. I'm in a bunch of different Facebook groups myself, and they're a lot of fun. It's easy to get sucked into those things too. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. $4.99. I got you down too, sir. And I still haven't got your jersey in here, but it should be coming any day now. So as soon as it comes in, I'll get it sent out to you. All right, well, it's too hard for me to remember that, Mark. So when we do the drawing, that'll just be up to you two again, as far as who Alan, did you get your shirt? Al, was it a shirt you got, Alan? Didn't you win last time? Did I ever send you that? I think I did. I don't remember though. Oh, Alan, thank you, sir. $6. I appreciate it. Damn, I should have mentioned the t-shirt thing earlier. All right, Michael Vick. Thanks for coming on, man. We'll see you next time. Yeah, Chris. Auburn's still celebrating that November national championship they won last year, aren't they? They love it. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Sometimes I get behind and forget to do something, whatever. Okay, I'm glad you got it. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that, sir. Hey, college football expert, what do you think about the fact that Gus Malzahn has never signed a decent quarterback out of high school? Why do you think that is? The only decent quarterbacks he's ever had has been transfers from other colleges. Every quarterback he's ever signed out of high school has been complete dumpster juice. Why do you think that is? Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it, and I got you down, sir. Two more entries. I'd also be curious to know, college football expert, why it is Auburn can't seem to win on the road or win a bowl game. What are they, 1-4 in bowl games under Gus Malzahn? The only bowl game they've ever won is the Birmingham Bowl. I wonder if you had any thoughts on that. Last meaningful win Wyoming had was against Tennessee in 2008. Scam Newton was a transfer. They didn't get him out of high school either. Well, if they don't fit what they do there, I wonder why he's signing them. Yeah, they paid a lot of money for Cam Newton, a new roof for his daddy's church. Buster Cherry, you ever watch Last Chance U? Uncle Lou was on Last Chance U, Buster Cherry. So yes, I do watch it. I was on season 2. Nevin Shapiro had him in a strip club, didn't he, Dennis? Yeah, I think Auburn will lose to Georgia and Alabama. It's on the road, and then I think they'll lose one other game and be 9-3, and then lose the bowl game and finish 9-4. Rooney is still playing? I find that hard to believe. Yeah, I think I'm on episode 5, Buster Cherry. I think it's episode 5 that I'm on. Stick Pig, good morning, sir. I can't take full credit for that Spanish-speaking Tennessee video that I did. Somebody sent me that video and said you need to do something funny with this video, like with subtitles. So as far as what they said, like I made up the whole conversation, but it was someone else's idea for me to use that video. Yeah, I watch LSU, Dad. I've had him on my afternoon call-in show before as a guest. He came on one of the I don't know, I guess a month or two ago. I had him on for like 30 minutes, but I've been watching him for a long time. And when I started doing the call-in show and having guests on, he was one of the first people I reached out to have on, and he was gracious enough to accept my invitation and come on. I think I told him like 10 or 15 minutes, but ended up keeping him on for 30 minutes, and probably could have talked for the whole hour. And I hope I can have him on again, if not during the summer, then during the season, the week of the Georgia LSU game. I'm hoping I can get him on again. But yeah, I've been watching him for a long time. You think Penn State will win the Big Ten? I don't know. If they couldn't win it with Saquon Barkley, I can't see them winning it this year without him. I think it comes down to Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Michigan lost to Toledo. Who remembers the time Michigan lost to App State? Saquon's in the NFL. He went to who did he go to? Giants, didn't he? Yeah, Aaron Murray is the best quarterback in SEC history. Yeah, most wins anyway, or most yards. Yeah, Notre Dame was good last year. Tailed off a little bit at the end, but I think they're going to be good again this year too. They got an NFL offensive line. They're going to have one of the best running attacks in America. I mean, the quarterback can run around. They've got good running backs. Defensively, they need to improve a little bit, I think. But you know, Notre Dame should win a minimum. I would think I think at a minimum. I think Notre Dame should repeat what they did last year. I don't think they're going to have one of those 3, 4, 5 win seasons. I don't see that happening at all. Yeah, Mark. Nobody will ever mention. I mean, any time from now to the end of time that you mention Michigan and App State, it's only going to be that App State beat them. No one's ever going to talk about the rematch. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes when you get embarrassed like that. Yeah, I've eaten at the Varsity in Athens and Atlanta. I'm no Notre Dame fan, Carlton. In fact, I've been a lot lower on Notre Dame than the average person over the course of my time on YouTube. But this year, I'm high on them. So it's not like I'm normally, you know, I don't normally pump up Notre Dame. It's usually the opposite. But I do think I just for some reason I think they're going to have a good year this year. What's the worst Carolina team I've seen? I mean, I remember the teams from the early 2000s that were going winless. I mean, they were going 0-11, 0-12. They weren't winning a single game. Yeah, same thing, Dalton. Yeah, Georgia. Yeah, Florida and Georgia Southern could play 100 more times, and Florida could beat them 100 times, and people are still going to only remember the time Georgia Southern beat them. That's a good analogy. Same thing with Michigan and App State. Yep, you're exactly right. Yeah, Notre Dame's had 2 or 3 really, really good years in the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, 2012 they made the title game. 2015 they were good. Last year they got up into the top 5. I mean, they've had some good years. 2012 they were way over. 2012 they had no business being in that national title game. Notre Dame still gets that, you know, Notre Dame treatment. It's not always fair. Yeah, Drew Lock will throw for 5,000 yards. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you the same thing about Missouri I said all last season. Missouri's going to beat a couple of teams they ain't got no business beating. I spent all last offseason telling people that. People laughed at me. And then they started like 1-5, and people laughed at me even more. And then they won like their last 6 games of the year and beat Tennessee and Florida and, you know, ended up in a pretty good bowl or a decent bowl game against Texas. They ended up losing that game, but still. It's sort of the same thing I said about Will Grier. When you've got the best quarterback in the league, you're going to win some games. And Drew Lock can flat sling the ball. I mean, there's no doubt about it. No, Dennis. Miami's not making the playoffs in 2018. Miami's ceiling in 2018 is the same as it was last year, a division title. That's it. There's no way Miami wins the ACC or makes the playoff next year. It's just not happening. Yeah, well, Georgia Southern took a big step up in competition when they, you know, they're not an FCS school anymore or Division II. They're a big boy school now. They're FBS. So, you know, they used to win 10 or 11 games a year against those FCS teams. Now they're having to play 12 FBS teams a year, and it's not working out for them. Yeah, Khalil Tate is one of the best athletes in college football and one of the funnest players to watch, too. He's on the West Coast, so a lot of East Coast people don't pay any attention to him. But he's kind of like Lamar Jackson. Like, you don't have to care about Louisville one way or the other. But you could watch a Louisville game and just be entertained because Lamar Jackson was so exciting. Arizona's the same way. Khalil Tate is unbelievable. I mean, he's a Heisman hopeful. I just don't think they'll have a good enough team for him to actually win the Heisman. But he's one of the most exciting players in college football. I mean, stick pig. People say that like the best team they beat was Florida. Well, and then you say, well, Florida was bad. Well, when teams lose, then people say they're bad. Like, you know, before the season started, no one thought Missouri was going to beat Florida or Tennessee, really, but they did. Yeah, Mizzou got boat raced by Purdue. They got boat raced by South Carolina. They got boat raced by Georgia. But they still won some games they weren't supposed to win. They were picked last in the East. I told people they were going to, no one listened. And that's fine. Don't listen this year either. That's fine. Don't listen. And then when you wake up in December and they've got 7 or 8 wins, you can say, well, Uncle Lou was right again. If Georgia goes 11-1, I don't care who the loss is to. It doesn't matter to me. Georgia's above the point where the goal is to beat any one team. Like Auburn, Auburn's hopes and dreams are just to beat Florida. I mean, or just to beat Georgia or Alabama because they have nothing above that. Tennessee just wants to win an SEC game. Georgia's goal isn't to beat any one particular team, but the 3 toughest games it looks like right now are at South Carolina, at LSU, and home against Auburn. Those look like the 3 toughest games. So if you had to make me pick one game, if you're going to tell me Georgia's going to go 11-1, who are they going to lose to? I would pick one of those 3 teams. I don't even know if DeAndre Francois is going to start next year. I'm not convinced that he's going to start. Now, I don't know why. I think because that other guy they got, that Blackman guy, nothing against him, but Jesus, that guy can't weigh 160 pounds soaking wet. I don't see how he made it through the year. And if Florida State doesn't have a better offensive line this year than they've had last year, then it doesn't matter who they put at quarterback. They won't make it through the season. No doubt, Dalton, you're exactly right. Yeah, Auburn go 2-9, but if they beat Alabama or Georgia, they're happy as hell. You're exactly right. I know Michigan hadn't beat Ohio State since Harbaugh's been there, so it's been at least 3 years. Probably been longer than that. Probably been 5 or 6. I don't understand the Florida State hire either. I don't get it. I don't know who Josh Belk is. Mississippi State's going to be a dangerous team this year if Nick Fitzgerald is 100%. recovered. I think they're going to beat Florida, which is going to be hilarious. Dan Mullen leaves Mississippi State, goes to Florida, and then has to travel to Mississippi State his first year at Florida just to get beat. That would be absolute. That would be the funniest loss of the entire season, and I really hope that happens. Vegas could win the Stanley Cup. It could happen. Carolina and Florida will be a good game. I think South Carolina's the better team. Um, I don't trust Will Muschamp to make it through an entire season though, beating everybody he's supposed to beat. So is that a game that they lose? I'm not sure. Yeah, I like Stingray. He's funny. I didn't know about him. Watching the Paul Feinbaum show was how I found out about him. Yeah, he's funny. And he went to Alabama too, which is weird. I think he did his undergrad at Alabama and then got his master's at Mississippi State. That's how he became a Mississippi State fan. I wouldn't bet on Ole Miss to beat Mississippi State right now. That Hawaii quarterback, Colt Brennan, has PTSD from that Sugar Bowl game against Georgia. He got absolutely murdered in that game. That's probably the worst beating I've ever seen a quarterback take in a game. I felt bad for the guy. I don't know. I haven't watched Feinbaum in a long time. Is he not? Is he not doing his videos on there anymore? I don't know. I quit. I haven't watched Feinbaum in a while since the football season ended. I record Feinbaum every day on the DVR, and people send me messages all the time like, "Oh my God, you got to hear what this guy said on Feinbaum or whatever." Now, I'll say, "Well, what time did he call? What time was it?" So I know where to forward to. And sometimes at night when I'm laying in bed, I'll watch some of it. All right, Mega. Thanks for coming on the stream tonight, man. We'll see you next time. The Grove is always 15-0. Feinbaum, same old crap. A lot of people give Feinbaum a hard time, but I mean, when Feinbaum started doing what he's doing right now, no one was doing that. Like, it was. I mean, the callers are what make his show, not Feinbaum. Feinbaum will tell you the same thing too. He's boring. I don't like him as an analyst, or like, who wants to, like, I don't know of anybody that watches Paul Feinbaum to hear him talk about college football. Like, I don't know of anybody that does that. It's the callers and some of the guests he has on there, but just him talking about college football is just, I mean, I'd rather have my toenails ripped off. Bulldog, you'll have to get Eagle or one of these other guys that's in the mod chat to add you. I don't know how I don't know how all that works, but I think all they need is your email address to add you, though. I mean, like, I give Feinbaum credit because he pretty much created that style of show. I mean, no one was doing that on the radio, much less TV. I mean, I'm not sure the SEC network could have got off the ground had it not been for Feinbaum. Like, and I'm no huge Feinbaum fan, like, from a football perspective or whatever, but you got to give the guy credit. I mean, he basically invented a format that had never been done before. I mean, I don't know how long you guys have been following Feinbaum, but he had like a local radio show in, bumfuck Alabama somewhere. I mean, that's how it started. And then he got syndicated, and it went statewide in Alabama. And then it went regional throughout the Southeast with radio stations. And then Sirius Satellite Radio picked him up. And this was years before the SEC network. And then when the SEC network started, he was their main draw. When the SEC network started, I mean, he fills up half their programming. Half their live programming is Paul Feinbaum. He does 5 hours now. He starts at 2 in the afternoon and goes till 7. I think the 2 o'clock hour is on ESPN2. But then from 3 to 7 on SEC Network. And then, of course, on Saturdays, he's got the SEC Nation show. So you got to give him credit for what he did. Like, people tell me all the time when they're mad or trying to troll me or whatever, that Lou's trying to be like Paul Feinbaum with his call-in show. Well, sorta, yeah. Like, I'm not, like, very few people have original ideas. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there's nothing original about me clicking go live and then taking phone calls. Like, there's nothing original about that. But it's a good format. I think it's an especially good format for college football, because college football lends itself to trash talking. Like, it attracts a certain type of person, and that makes for good radio. I mean, that's why people watch Feinbaum, is to hear the callers call in and yell and scream and go nuts and all that kind of stuff. And people say you're trying to be, Lou thinks he's Paul Feinbaum. No, I don't think I'm Paul Feinbaum. But I love that. I love the format, and so that's why I do the show. I keep saying, like, with that 3 o'clock show, if there's no callers, there's no show. So, like, I do it for an hour now. It's been going for a couple of months, 3 months, 4 months. Yeah, started it in February. It's the off season, so there's not even any football games on. I've been doing that show for 2 hours a week, an hour on Monday, an hour on Wednesday, for 4 months. And the phone rings from the time I start the show to the time I end it. And I know it's frustrating for people who are trying to call and get through or whatever, but, like, that's how it has to be. It has to be, the show can't go, I can't expand the show another hour if everybody that wants to get on is getting on in the first hour, because then the second hour there'll be nobody calling. Like, and when I expand it to 2 hours, when I change it from, instead of going from 3 to 4, we change it from 3 to 5. If 4:15 or 4:20 or 4:30 rolls around and no one's calling, I'm gonna end the show. Like, I don't do that show so I can sit and talk to y'all. Like I make 5-6 videos a week where I do that, plus these nighttime shows. I don't need another hour or 2 hours on a Monday or Wednesday to talk football on YouTube. I do plenty of that. I do that call-in show to hear other people's opinions. And they do matter to me too. Like, a lot of the videos that I'll make over the summer, prediction videos and stuff like that, I will, a lot of the predictions that I make will be because of things that I've heard from fans of other teams on that call-in show. All right, it's almost 12:30. I'm going to end this. Sorry again about the Xbox. I told y'all before, though, I don't ever play this thing except for on these live streams. So, like, the show starts at 10. I literally don't come out here till 9:45, just enough time to turn the Xbox on, type the title and thumbnail and all that into YouTube, and hit go live. So I had no idea the Xbox was going to crash like that. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll have some time tomorrow. I can try to deal with that. We may end up having to just do this Q&A thing again Thursday. I don't know. Can you even buy Xbox 360s anymore? Not from the store, right? I'll have to buy it off of Craigslist or something. So I don't know how quick I'll be able to get one. But anyway, y'all don't care about any of that. There'll be a show Thursday night regardless at 10 o'clock. We'll see what kind of show it is. I don't know. Anyway, ACC week continues tomorrow. Have a video up for you guys, hopefully before lunchtime. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody that donated to the stream today too, which was let's see, Mark Dudley, thank you, sir. Alan V, thank you. Chris Harper, thank you, sir. And CRC Sports, thank you guys for donating to the Uncle Lou channel. I really appreciate it. The more donations I get, the more likely and the more willing I am to do these live shows. Like I was mentioning earlier in the show, nobody watches these live videos I do compared to the regular videos I do. I can yell into my camera for 5 minutes about some random topic and upload it, and it'll get 10 times the number of views that these live shows get. I do these live shows because I like talking college football to you guys. So the more donations we get, the more likely I am to do more of these kinds of live shows. So I really appreciate those donations. It may not seem like a lot to you guys, $1, $2, $5, whatever. That's not the point. It lets me show that you guys appreciate what I'm doing. And for that, I am thankful. So again, thanks to everybody that tuned in tonight and watched or listened. I really appreciate it. Video tomorrow, live show tomorrow afternoon at 3. Clemson fan coming on right at 3. Pigskin Pete, he has a YouTube channel. He's coming on at 3 to talk to us about Clemson, and then we'll do 45 minutes or so of viewer phone calls. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great morning too.